East Coast and Central United States issue maximum generation alerts. The power grid is under tremendous strain here in the United States. Not only generation alerts, demanding basically all power plants be operational and online as much as possible, but also that they are setting out load management alerts. This is across from the East Coast all the way over to North Dakota, South Dakota, down to Texas. We got a lot of stuff happening with that. We need to talk about this. This heat wave is potentially going to cause some problems. We got Chick-fil-A out there closing down stores for a lack of chicken on the West Coast. And we have a viewer giving us an update on what was going on with the flooding up in Connecticut. We got a lot to cover. These are your updates. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and these are your updates. So if you have something to share with the group, please make sure you let us know by using the word update somewhere in your comment. Give us some sort of geographical location if that is relevant to your comment. Before we dive in, we do want to thank Genesis Gold Group. They help people who have retirement accounts to invest in physical metals, stuff that you can actually hold, not promises of metals, but actually your metals in bank vaults that you can take distributions out of your retirement accounts in. If you want to find out more about that, there'll be a link at the end of the video. Great folks over there. All right, so let's start off here with the U.S. power grid. The U.S. power grid is under tremendous strain across the Midwest due to the recent heat wave and across the East Coast. The main place that we're having problems are the PJM interconnect, which has issued both a maximum generation alert and a load management alert. So not only are they trying to get as much power online, as many power plants online as possible, they're also trying to start cutting demand for electricity out there. PJM covers Ohio, Pennsylvania, New Jersey, West Virginia, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, and parts of Kentucky, Indiana, Illinois, and North Carolina. So it's kind of a big deal. And those are very heavily populated areas. So basically anything south of New York and northern North Carolina. So they've issued the alert as a precautionary measure against all PJM interconnect resources being committed. So basically they looked at the schedule. They're like, this is how much power we're going to need. We're going to need every single one of our generators online. All the generators that we have online are already committed. Like we're going to need them. There isn't anyone who isn't needed. So of course you have any power plants that have maintenance or planned outages so they can just do normal stuff. They're all told, don't do that. Have your power plant online. We need every ounce of power out there. Not only that, but PJM Interconnect actually exports a lot of power down to the Carolinas, to the west, like Chicago runs off PJM Interconnect power. New England and New York draw a lot of power from Pennsylvania as well. We generate a lot of power here. And so PJM is generally an exporting place. So the concern here isn't so much will PJM have enough power, but rather will they have to start cutting off other interconnects and not giving power away, which would actually mean that we wouldn't be seeing the power outages probably in PJM. We'd be seeing the power outages in the pools nearby. Not only PJM though, Southwest Power Pool, which covers from North Dakota down to Texas, basically is kind of sliver, this slice of the United States. We're talking about Kentucky, I lost my place, Kentucky, Missouri, and 10 other states or parts of those states. They've issued a level 1 emergency alert. That comes as all power plants there are also need to be online and expected to be used. So this is kind of a widespread power issue. Now, the East Coast Interconnect includes all of these, right? We have 3 main interconnects across the United States, and that's I know we got the PGM interconnect, which is part of the East Coast interconnect. The East Coast interconnect goes up to the Rocky Mountains, basically, and then everything west of the Rocky Mountains is the West Coast interconnect, and then you got Texas doing Texas stuff down there. Now, little tiny pieces of Texas actually are connected to the East Coast interconnect, or, well, to the East Coast interconnect in different places. So, but generally speaking, Texas is its own power grid, and they cannot move power from the East Coast interconnect into Texas, which is what we saw before. Now, they're building a power line, but it's going to take them like a decade to build the power line because, you know, we built the entire power grid in like 10 years back in the 40s and such, but now it takes us 10 years to build like one power line. Yeah, we're not in any trouble at all. But basically, we've brought a lot of power plants offline over the past year, and over the last several years, we've taken a lot of power plants offline because, you know, we need to make it more green. Well, that's causing a lot of problems out there. Right now, we also have 350,000 people in Michigan without power after the storms have hit there and knocked down a whole bunch of trees. Lots of problems out there. It's extremely hot all across here. I got my AC running here, which is, I don't usually do that, but I'm just part of the problem, I know. But we have a lot of heat. If you're not on the East Coast, if you're not in the Midwest and such, you don't know that it's unusually hot. Let's just say it that way. At night, it's getting down to like 75, whereas normally it should be down to like in the 60s or whatever. Anyway, not only in the United States, but also Russian air attacks on Ukrainian utilities have plunged many of the cities over there into darkness. The goal of the recent attacks, major airstrike attacks, apparently seem to have been a total blackout across Ukraine, which is causing a humanitarian catastrophe across Ukraine. This attack by Russia is just brutal. It's brutal and it's awful. The people of Ukraine are suffering greatly due to this attack. Many hospitals, water pumping stations, sewage treatment plants, all of those places, emergency services, now unable to use power. They're hoping to have power on in a bunch of these places within a couple weeks, but Russia has started attacking not just the transformers or the distribution, but they've been actually attacking the power plants, which are a lot harder to repair. President Biden has committed the United States to rushing over key components for repairing the power grid and power plants over there. So I imagine that's just on top of the budget that we already have. But definitely truly catastrophic. And I mean, it's still summer, but winter is a-coming. And the power grid over there being down, going into winter will be a tremendously awful thing, right? Let's get over here to your updates and reports here. Faye says, Puget Sound, Washington, Chick-fil-A closing stores here due to lack of chicken. Now, of course, Washington's got all sorts of rules over there that are making things very difficult. Apparently, Chick-fil-A has finally had it with that, and just like, if we can't buy chicken at a reasonable price, you know, we're just done. And so they're packing up and leaving. VX says, I am in North County, San Diego, and we have had huge problems here with eggs and most dairy, especially yogurt and sour cream. Once again, that's San Diego, California. Stuart says, Prescott Valley, Arizona, Walmart. I only went in part of the store, had both sides of one aisle completely empty, and the next aisle, both sides, were filled with only extra large black totes. They finished a remodel over a month ago, so it's not a remodel, but it's this shouldn't be happening, as they say. D says, thanks for all you do. In my mid to upper 30s, age-wise, I imagine, I'm seeing things that I haven't seen since I was a teen. I'm seeing and getting a few 50-cent pieces. Haven't seen any of those in a long time. That tells me people are dipping into their heirlooms and personal treasures. if they're anything like me, it won't last long. Then I suspect we'll see things we haven't seen before. I mean, that's the concern, isn't it? I mean, when you've seen over the past number of years them saying, oh, most Americans can't cover a $200 emergency. Well, right now we're seeing a slow-burning emergency that is depleting everybody's reserves. Even the people who had some money set aside, they can't cover this. And this is making people make cuts. They're pulling back and they're changing their behaviors. And it's not necessarily a bad thing, the behavior changing, but it does show how desperate and how most Americans are not keeping up with the pace of inflation. Bitrunner says Orlando, Florida. Sam's Club, no eggs, none. Not even the big boxes. Ironically, there is a sign that said that there was a limit of 2 per customer. The space was instead filled with creamer, though. So no eggs, even though they have a limit of 2 per customer, they didn't even have them. OB says, Southeast Michigan. Of all the dumb things to not be able to find, cotton balls. Wanted to get them at Dollar Tree. First Dollar Tree didn't have any. Second Dollar Tree was closed because their system was down, according to the sign on the door. Third Dollar Tree had multiple help wanted signs on the door. That place was a hot mess and no cotton balls there either. Gave up and came home. Not critical, but annoying. And you know what I'm talking about, right? I was able to stock up on brand name dental floss, though, at the First Dollar Tree. Yeah, it's crazy. And from what I've seen, I don't know that Dollar Tree is the cheapest place anymore. They used to be a very good place for a lot of things, but it seems like you can get cheaper stuff elsewhere now. C says, I'm in Williamson County, Tennessee, south of Nashville, and we just got an automated call to restrict our water usage. Now, we've been getting reports of people saying north of like northern Alabama, northern Mississippi, and southern Tennessee, but this is northern Tennessee that we're hearing requests to limit water usage. Lynn says, North Central West Virginia, local grocery store had large sections of bare shelves top to bottom. Local Tractor Supply, their dog bath station closed to conserve water. Drought is bad. And especially in the West Virginia area and even here, the water situation is really, really dire. Envision says, Sam's Club, North Central Alabama. Where are all the vitamins? We've heard other people complaining about those as well, right? The aisle used to be filled, shelves completely on one side and about 2/3 of the length on the other. Today, the vitamins span only about 1/4 of the aisle on one side instead of both sides. Another shopper was also shocked to see this. There was only one option of the things that they had, and there wasn't much. Get your vitamins, people. Yeah, stocking up on some multivitamins is one of the biggest preps you can make out there. Stock up on your rice, stock up on your beans, but also stock up on some basic adult vitamins, multivitamins. It's best to go with just the cheaper, just get something that's going to fill in the gaps, right? Stuff that's going to last a good while. Get the don't get the gel caps because those things can get kind of weird when they get heated up or when they get old. But just get the regular cheap ones and just stock them up, right? This is interesting comments here from the Blonde Patriot. Connecticut resident here. I'm in the flood-damaged area. Although we survived with no damage, there are many in my community suffering and some of the other surrounding towns as well. So I got on my soapbox on the social media to express to my friends and family the importance of having stored food and water because there are some people that cannot get out of their neighborhoods because of the roads are washed away. And some of these are rural areas where there are no shopping centers within walking distance. And some of the stores even got shut down, which will take months to reopen if they ever do. So prepping is not just for the end of the world, it's for natural disasters like these. I cannot stress this enough. Absolutely. I mean, that's my background, is disaster relief. I work doing disaster relief over in Central Asia, Afghanistan, and surrounding countries there. And doing disaster relief here in the United States. We see people are just not prepared for things. Now, when you're in a war zone and when you're over in impoverished areas in other countries, I mean, there's excuses for that. There's reasons why they're not prepared. Here in the United States, where there's prosperity, it's really just laziness and refusal to deal with the potential that bad things could happen. I mean, that's really what it is. Laziness and inability to face reality. I know it's getting harder out there, but basic, cheap preps are not expensive. They're not hard to do. You can eat cheap this month and stock up several months worth of food to put back, right? If you eat some more, if you get some rice and beans into your diet today, you will be able to eat rice and beans for months in the future for emergency service things. Just think about that. Think about eating on an emergency budget this month or next month, and then saving that, and the money that you save, you spend that buying more food so that you can put that away. It's a smart thing to do. Tighten your belt now while you have a chance to do so willingly and get ahead of things. All right, friends, thanks so much for watching. If you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold, there's a link right there on the screen. Just tap that link, fill out your form, and they will get in contact with you and answer your questions. No obligations if you do that. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.